I told my mother-in-law she was dead to me after she broke into my safe. I have a 10-year-old daughter named Lily who lost her mother to a sudden illness 4 years ago. It has been a long road for us. Lily is a sensitive kid who keeps her most precious memories of her mom locked away. I remarried a woman named Sarah 2 years ago, and for the most part things have been great. But Sarah's mother, Evelyn, is the definition of a boundary pusher. She is loud and opinionated and thinks she is the matriarch of a family she barely knows. Evelyn has this obsession with Lily's grief. She constantly tries to force Lily to talk about her mom at the dinner table. She will ask her if she remembers her mom's voice or if she misses her cooking while Lily is just trying to eat her pasta. When Lily gets quiet or looks uncomfortable, Evelyn tells me I am raising a repressed child. She actually brought a grief counselor brochure to a birthday party and tried to hand it to Lily in front of all her friends. I told her to back off and Sarah told her to stay in her lane, but Evelyn always plays the victim. She says she is just trying to be the grandmother Lily needs. Last week, Sarah and I went out for a quick anniversary dinner while Evelyn watched Lily. We were only gone for 2 hours. When we got back, the house was quiet. Lily was in her room with the door locked, which was unusual. I went to check on her and she was shaking. She told me that Evelyn had spent the whole night asking where the key to the small silver safe in my closet was. That safe holds the only things left of my late wife. To her wedding ring, her favorite perfume bottle, and a stack of handwritten letters she wrote for Lily to open on her future birthdays. I went into my bedroom and saw my closet door wide open. The small safe was sitting on the bed. The keypad was scratched up like someone had been trying to pry it open with a screwdriver. I looked at the floor and saw a hammer and a flathead screwdriver from my own toolbox. I ran downstairs and found Evelyn in the kitchen, calmly making herself a cup of tea. I asked her what she was doing in my closet with my tools. She didn't even blink. She looked me right in the eye and said that Lily needs to move on and that hiding those relics in a box was keeping her stuck in the past. She told me she was going to take the jewelry to be reset into something modern for Lily to wear now, and she was going to read the letters to see if they were appropriate for a 10-year-old. I lost my mind. I told her that those items are none of her business and that she had no right to touch my dead wife's belongings. Evelyn started crying and saying I was being aggressive. She told Sarah that I was acting like a madman over a bunch of old junk. She said she was trying to do me a favor by clearing out the ghost in the house. I told Evelyn to get her coat and leave immediately. I told her that if she ever stepped foot on my property again, I would have her arrested for attempted theft and trespassing. I told her she was dead to me and that she would never see Lily again. She screamed that I was a monster and that Sarah deserved better than a man who lives in a graveyard. Sarah is a mess. She agrees that what her mother did was insane, but she thinks a lifetime ban is too harsh. She says her mom is just eccentric and worried about our family dynamic. Her brother called me yesterday and told me I was being a drama queen. He said his mother was just trying to help us declutter our lives. I told him that if he felt that way, he was welcome to stay away too. I changed the locks the next morning. Lily thanked me for protecting her mom's things, and that is the only opinion that matters to me right now. I do not care about the wedding or the in-laws or Sarah's feelings on the matter. If you try to break into a dead woman's safe to steal her letters, you do not get a second chance. And the silence in the house the next morning was heavy, the kind of quiet that feels like a physical weight on your chest. I sat at the kitchen island, a cold cup of coffee in my hand, watching the dust motes dance in the sunlight hitting the counter. Sarah hadn't come down for breakfast. She was upstairs, likely staring at the ceiling or scrolling through the barrage of flying monkey texts her family was undoubtedly sending. I kept looking at my hands. They were still steady, which surprised me. I thought I'd be shaking after the adrenaline of last night wore off, but all I felt was a cold, hard clarity. It's funny how people use words like eccentric or helpful to dress up a home invasion. If a stranger had walked into my house with a hammer and a screwdriver to pry open a safe, nobody would be calling them worried about the family dynamic. They'd be in a holding cell. But because it's a mother-in-law, I'm expected to negotiate the terms of my own privacy and my daughter's sanity. Lily came down around 8 a.m. She looked like she hadn't slept either. Her eyes were puffy, and she was wearing one of her mom's old, oversized hoodies, the navy blue one with the frayed cuffs. She didn't say anything at first, just walked over and leaned her head against my shoulder. "Is she coming back, Dad?" she whispered. "No," I said, my voice raspier than I intended. "She's not coming back. Not today, not ever." I changed the locks. I felt her entire body relax. That was the moment I knew I was right. Yeah, all the guilt Sarah had been trying to plant in me overnight, the "she's just getting older" and the "she doesn't have anyone else," evaporated. My primary job is to be the barrier between my daughter and the people who want to pick at her wounds until they bleed. "I'm sorry she scared you," I told her. "She told me Mom would want her to see the letters," Lily said, her voice trembling. "She said Mom didn't know what was best for me because she was sick in the head at the end. She said the letters might be full of morbid thoughts that I shouldn't read." The rage flared up again, hot and sharp. My late wife, Elena, had spent her final months, when she could barely hold a pen, writing those letters. She wrote about the day Lily was born, about the first time she saw her smile, and about the advice she wouldn't wouldn't be there to give when Lily had her first heartbreak or graduated college. She wasn't sick in the head. She was a mother trying to build a bridge across the afterlife for her child. And Evelyn wanted to censor that. She wanted to declutter the only connection my daughter has left. Around noon, the front door rattled. Then the doorbell rang. Then the knocking started. Not a polite, "Can we talk?" knock, but the frantic, entitled pounding of someone who thinks they own the place. I went to the door. I didn't open it. I looked through the side light and saw Evelyn standing there with Sarah's brother, Mark. Evelyn was wearing a bright floral scarf, looking every bit the distraught grandmother, while Mark stood behind her with his arms crossed, looking like a bouncer for a suburban church social. "Ah, open the door, David," Mark shouted. "This has gone far enough. You can't just lock a woman out of her daughter's life over a misunderstanding." I opened the door just a crack, keeping the security chain on. "It wasn't a misunderstanding, Mark. It was a felony. Go away." "A felony?" Evelyn piped up, her voice hitting that high, shrill note she uses when she wants to sound fragile. "I was trying to help. Those letters, they're damp, David. I could smell the mustiness through the safe. They'll rot. I was going to take them to a professional to have them preserved. I was being a saint." "You were using a flathead screwdriver on a digital keypad," I said, my voice dead calm. "You told my daughter her mother was mentally unstable. If you don't leave this porch in 30 seconds, I am calling the police. I have the screwdriver and the hammer with your prints on them. I have the scratches on the safe. Try me." Evelyn's face shifted. The saintly mask slipped, and for a second, I saw the woman who had spent the last 2 years trying to systematically erase Elena from this house. "You're a pathetic, grieving shell of a man," she spat. "You're holding that girl hostage in a tomb. Sarah! Sarah, tell him!" Sarah appeared at the top of the stairs behind me. She looked exhausted, her hair messy, her eyes red. She looked at me, then at the door, then back at me. "Mom, just go," Sarah said softly. "Sarah, honey, he's lost his mind," Evelyn yelled through the crack. "He's threatening me with the police. Me, after everything I've done for you two." "You tried to break into the safe, Mom," Sarah said, her voice gaining a little strength. "You waited until we were out, and you went into his private closet. You used tools. You scared Lily. I told you 100 times to leave the mom stuff alone, and you didn't. You need to go." Mark stepped forward, pointing a finger at the door. "This isn't over, David. You don't get to isolate Sarah from her family. We'll be talking to a lawyer about visitation for Lily." I actually laughed. It was a short, sharp sound. "Visitation? You're not her blood. You're not her legal guardians. You have zero rights to that child. And if you think a judge is going to grant grandparent rights to a woman who attempted to break into a safe and harassed a grieving minor, please hire the most expensive lawyer you can find. I'd love to see the look on their face when they read the police report I'm about to file." I slammed the door and locked the deadbolt. I heard Mark swearing and Evelyn starting a fresh round of theatrical wailing on the porch. Eventually, I heard their car pull away, tires screeching just enough to let me know they were offended. Sarah sat down on the bottom step of the stairs. She put her head in her hands. "My phone hasn't stopped buzzing. My aunts, my cousins, they all think you've had a nervous breakdown and I'm being held captive. Do you feel like you're being held captive?" I asked. I needed to know. I loved Sarah, I really did. She had been a light in a very dark time for us, but I couldn't sacrifice Lily's safety, emotional or otherwise, for the sake of Sarah's peace with her toxic mother. Sarah looked up. "No, I feel like I'm married to a man who protects his daughter, but David, she's my mother. How do we even function if she's dead to you? Every holiday, every birthday, every Sunday dinner, it's all gone. You're asking me to choose between my husband and my entire extended family? I'm not asking you to choose," I said, walking over to her. "You can see them. You can go to their house. You can go to lunch with her every single day if you want, but she will never step foot in this house again. She will never be alone with Lily again, and she will never, ever mention Elena's name in my presence. Those are the terms. If your family thinks that's insane, then they don't value boundaries, and if you can't live with those terms, then we have a much bigger problem than a broken safe." The following days were a war of attrition, and Sarah's family group chat was a toxic wasteland. They posted memes about controlling husbands and the importance of forgiveness. Evelyn even went so far as to post a photo of herself praying in a church pew with a caption about praying for the hearts of those filled with anger. I ignored it all. I spent that weekend with Lily. We went to the park, we watched movies, and finally, we sat down on my bed with the silver safe. I let her punch in the code. I had changed it to her birthday. The door clicked open. The scent of Elena's perfume, a light floral jasmine, drifted out, faint but unmistakable. Lily took a deep breath, her eyes closing. She reached in and pulled out the stack of letters. They were tied with a simple purple ribbon. "She thought she could just take these," Lily whispered, her thumb tracing the handwriting on the top envelope. "To Lily, on her 13th birthday. She thought she knew better than your mom," I said, "but nobody knows you better than she did, not even me." Lily looked at me, and for the first time in a week, she smiled, a real smile. "Thanks for not letting her, Dad." That night, I had a long talk with Sarah. We sat out on the back deck, the air cooling as the sun went down. She told me she had blocked her mother for a few days. She said she needed the noise to stop so she could think. "I realized something today," Sarah said, staring out at the yard. "I've spent my whole life managing my mother. When she'd get out of line, I'd apologize for her. When she'd offend people, I'd smooth it over. I thought that was just what good daughters do. But seeing her face through that door, she wasn't sorry, David. She wasn't even embarrassed. She was just mad she got caught before she could finish improving our lives. She doesn't see people, I said. She sees projects. She saw Lily's grief as something to be fixed so she could feel like a hero. She saw Elena's memory as a competitor she had to defeat. Sarah nodded slowly. I told her today, via email, because I couldn't handle the screaming, that if she wants to have any relationship with me, she has to write a formal apology to you and Lily, and she has to agree to the no-contact rule with Lily until Lily is an adult and decides for herself. How did she take that? She haven't replied, but Mark sent me a text saying I was brainwashed. Sarah let out a tired laugh. It's going to be a long year, isn't it? Maybe, I said, reaching over to take her hand. But the house is quiet. The safe is locked, and Lily is sleeping soundly for the first time in days. I can live with a long year. I meant what I said to Evelyn. She is dead to me. There is no apology, no eccentric explanation, no amount of family pressure that can undo the image of her standing in my bedroom with a hammer, ready to smash the last pieces of a dead woman's legacy. Some lines, once crossed, turn into canyons. You don't build bridges over them. You just learn to live on your side of the divide. I look at the safe every morning now. It sits on the top shelf of my closet, a small silver fortress. It's a reminder that some things are worth fighting for, and some people are worth losing. My daughter's peace of mind is at the top of that list. And if that makes me a monster or a man who lives in a graveyard in the eyes of a woman who doesn't understand the word respect, then I'll wear those titles with pride. Life settled into a strange, brittle rhythm after the locks were changed. The physical threat was gone, but the emotional shrapnel was still embedded in the walls. Sarah was grieving a mother who was still alive, and Lily was guarding a mother who wasn't. It made the air in the house feel thin, like we were all climbing a mountain we hadn't prepared for. 2 weeks in, the first peace offering arrived. Not a letter of apology, Evelyn doesn't do those, but a massive, expensive Lego set for Lily and a crate of gourmet coffee for me. No note, just the delivery slip with her name on it. Don't open them, I told Sarah when I saw the boxes in the hallway. David, it's just Legos, she sighed, leaning against the doorframe. She looked thinner. The stress of being the middleman in a Cold War was hollowing her out. She's trying, in her own warped, suffocating way, she's trying to say she's sorry without saying the words. She's not trying to say she's sorry, I said, stepping over the boxes. She's trying to buy her way back into the house so she can finish what she started. If we take these, we're telling her that my wife's memory and Lily's safety have a price tag, and apparently that price is a plastic castle and some Arabica beans. I loaded the boxes back into my truck and drove them to the local toy drive and a food bank. I didn't tell Evelyn. I didn't need to. The silence was my message, but the pressure from Sarah's side of the family became a relentless hum. And her brother Mark started leaving voicemails, not for me, but for Sarah, that she'd accidentally play on speaker while we were making dinner. You're letting him isolate you, Sarah, Mark's voice would crackle through the phone. This is how it starts. He cuts off your family, he controls who you see, he uses that dead wife of his as a shield so nobody can criticize him. Mom is depressed. She hasn't left the house in 3 days. Is this really the hill you want your marriage to die on? Sarah would look at me, her eyes pleading for me to give her something, a compromise, a crack in the door. But I couldn't. Every time I thought about softening, I saw the scratches on that keypad. I saw the hammer on the bed. The real breaking point came on a Tuesday. I was picking Lily up from her gymnastics class. Usually she's out front by the curb, but when I pulled up, she was nowhere to be seen. My heart did a slow, sickening roll in my chest. I parked the car and ran inside. I found her in the locker room, tucked into a corner, her face pale. And there, standing over her with a Tupperware container and a forced, manic smile, was Evelyn. I just wanted to bring her some of my homemade lasagna, David, Evelyn said, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness as she saw me approaching. A growing girl needs real food, not the frozen stuff I'm sure you're feeding her. Lily didn't look at the lasagna. She was looking at the exit. She followed me in here, Dad. She was waiting in the parking lot. I didn't yell. I think that scared Evelyn more than if I had. I walked over, took the Tupperware from her hands, and dropped it directly into the industrial trash can by the door. The plastic cracked and red sauce splattered against the liners. I told you, I said, my voice a low, vibrating growl. I told you to stay away. You can't keep her from me, Evelyn hissed, the mask finally shattering. I am her grandmother by marriage. I have a right to see how she's being raised. Look at her. She's wearing that drab hoodie again. You're keeping her in mourning like it's a cult. You aren't her grandmother, I said. You're a trespasser, and now you're a stalker. I pulled out my phone and dialed the non-emergency police line right there in front of her. I didn't wait for her to start her victim routine. I told the dispatcher I had an individual on the premises who was violating a verbal trespass warning and was harassing my daughter. Evelyn fled before the squad car arrived, but the damage was done. Now Lily cried the whole way home, not because she missed her grandma, but because she felt hunted. When we got home, Sarah was waiting. She had heard part of it from Mark, who had apparently received a frantic call from a terrified Evelyn. You called the cops on her, David? Sarah asked, her voice trembling. At Lily's school? Do you know how that looks? I don't care how it looks, I said, ushering Lily upstairs. I turned back to Sarah, my hands gripped tight at my sides. She followed a 10-year-old girl into a locker room after being told she wasn't welcome. She is unstable, Sarah. She is obsessed with fixing a situation she has no part in. She's my mother, Sarah screamed. It was the first time she had truly raised her voice since we got married. She's a meddling, overbearing, crazy woman, but she's mine. Aw, and you're treating her like a criminal. Because she is acting like a criminal, I shot back. She tried to rob our safe. She tracked our daughter down. What is the line for you, Sarah? Does she have to actually hurt Lily before you realize she's toxic? Does she have to burn the letters before you admit she's out of control? Sarah went quiet. She sat down at the kitchen table and started to cry. Real, ugly sobs of a woman caught between two worlds. I wanted to go to her, to hold her, but I felt a distance between us that I hadn't felt even during our worst arguments. The next day, I didn't go to work. I went to the courthouse. I filed for a formal restraining order. I brought photos of the safe. I brought a statement from the gymnastics coach who had seen Evelyn cornering Lily. I brought a copy of the police report from the night of the break-in. When the server delivered the papers to Evelyn's house, the explosion was felt across the entire county. My phone blew up. Sarah's phone blew up. Mark showed up at my front door that evening, but I didn't even open the side light. I just pointed to the no trespassing sign I had bolted to the porch. That night, Sarah didn't sleep in our bed. She slept in the guest room. I need space, she told me. I love you, and I love Lily, but I feel like I'm losing my whole identity to this fight. My family won't even speak to me unless it's to tell me what a monster you are, and you won't even look at me without judging me for being her daughter. I don't judge you for being her daughter, I said, standing in the doorway of the guest room. I judge you for not being Lily's stepmother first. She needs protection, Sarah, from everyone, even from the people you love. The silence that followed was the coldest one yet. A week later, the hearing for the restraining order was held. Evelyn showed up in a modest gray suit, looking like a frail, misunderstood elder. She had a lawyer, a shark of a man who tried to paint me as a grieving widower who had lost his grip on reality. He talked about family reunification and the importance of the grandmother-grandchild bond. Then the judge looked at the photos of the safe. He looked at the screwdriver marks. He asked Evelyn one question. Why didn't you wait for the father to return home if you were concerned about the contents of the safe? Evelyn fumbled. I felt it was urgent for the child's mental health. Urgent enough to use a hammer? The judge asked, his voice dry as bone. The restraining order was granted. 6 months, no contact, stay 500 feet away from Lily and our home. When we walked out of the courtroom, Mark was waiting in the hallway. He didn't look at me. He looked at Sarah. I hope you're happy, he said. You've officially orphaned yourself. Sarah didn't say anything. She just walked to the car and stared out the window the whole way home. That evening, I found Lily in her room. She had the silver safe open on her lap. She wasn't reading the letters this time. She was just holding her mom's old perfume bottle, the one with the silk tassel. Is it over now? She asked. For now, I said, sitting on the edge of her bed. The judge told her she has to stay away. Is Sarah okay? She's sad, Lily. It's hard for her. Lily looked at the safe, then at me. I don't hate Sarah's mom. I'm scared of her. She looks at me like I'm a puzzle she needs to take apart. Mom never looked at me like that. I know, kiddo, I know. Things with Sarah are still complicated. We're in marriage counseling now, which was my condition for her staying. She's slowly realizing that her family's loyalty was actually a form of hostage-taking. She's learning that you can love a person and still tell them no. As for the safe, it stays where it is. It's not a ghost in the house, as Evelyn called it. It's a lighthouse. It reminds me that I have a duty to the woman who isn't here and a duty to the girl who is. The letters are still there. I'm waiting for those birthdays. The wedding ring is still there, waiting for the day Lily is old enough to understand what it meant. Every morning I check the locks. Every morning I look at that silver box. And every morning I know I'd do it all again. Because a man who lives in a graveyard might be lonely, but at least he knows how to honor the dead and how to protect the living.